So essentially, what we do, man, is we kind of go through like a lot of the unknown, and we discuss the topics that most people don't talk about, and kind of like conspiracies and things of that nature. A lot of supernatural.
Sure.
My friend Nick here is big into the trans dimensional beings and whatnot. I'm into the supernatural, and
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of in that same boat with us, John. So
All day. All day. Yeah, I roll deep in that stuff.
So, with that said, we thought that it would be a great opportunity for you to come on Almost Canon to tell us kind of what your impressions are of this recent event in Miami, man, because you got
Sure.
a lot of connections. So, I'd love to hear your perception of all this. Nick, unless you have
So,
something to add to all this, Nick, go ahead, man.
No. That's good.
beautiful. Okay. I mean, so frankly, let's lay it out. I would say this. A lot of people going, oh, this is a distraction, yada yada. Um, I'll say this. What I've noticed, I'll put it this way. The content I made on Miami, it got a shit ton of views, and definitely the algorithm pushed it, which makes me inclined to say that yeah, maybe it was something that the powers that be, the mainstream media, the almighty algorithm, whatever's calling the shots these days, it definitely wanted that to be out there and to be talked about, as opposed to something like Miami, or sorry, as opposed to something like Maui, the fires in Maui, obviously earlier or late last year, that led to my TikTok account almost getting banned. Complete blackout across. And I talked to other creators, and their videos were getting taken down. Any video they made about Maui. So when you contrast that with Miami, where they're pumping it, it does make me question it. Having said that, there were 100 cops that showed up. They did cancel flights out of Miami International that day. There was a supposed power outage, black helicopters in the sky. And I don't care what you say, you're not sending 300 police officers for teens shooting off fireworks in the fucking mall. So what happened? I don't know. And I've had no one reach out that was there. And usually, and I put a call out and I said, anyone there, police officer or otherwise, feel free to reach out. No one reached out, which is rare, which makes me go, okay, they got this thing pretty shut down. If I may, Chad, I'll just fucking pontificate here. I think it was like some sort of 24 hours situation. Someone Jack Bauer it. I think there was something that almost happened. I think something almost happened, and they stopped it. What is that something? I mean, take your pick. America is under attack right now. I don't think you can deny that when you look at all of the gas plant explosions. I'm not even talking train derailments, because frankly, those could, the infrastructure needs work, right? But train derailments, fires, you name it, substation attacks, right? All these things are very reminiscent of pre-war sabotage that has taken place throughout the history, and throughout, before any major war, these things start occurring, and the government will downplay it. So anyways, I just said a whole lot, but yeah, aliens, I wish, but probably not. Teens fighting, no, I don't buy that either. So we just don't know, but there was something happened there that day. Something almost happened, I think, and that's kind of my take on it so far. Have you guys heard anything more concrete in the last week or so?
Well, Nick, you go
No.
ahead, and then I'll go. Have you heard anything more?
I mean, I haven't heard anything concrete. I just heard the, regular rumors of. There was something I heard about somebody going in there, sitting down, opened a box, like some sort of mechanical instrument, right? Electrical instrument, and it opened some sort of portal. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But this is the kind of stuff I'm into. I mean,
yeah, man.
And we just did another podcast, a couple days ago with someone, and they were talking about the Peruvian face peelers. I don't know if you heard of these guys, but
yeah,
it sounds like they're using some sort of high tech gear out there. I'm wondering. You kind of got me wondering if, like, maybe some sort of, I don't know, maybe not even our government, some sort of shadow government or like breakaway society is kind of like handing out all these like I don't know, alien technology or something to random people, kind of like in Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie there, where the Vulture guy, he's like stealing the alien tech and they're using this stuff on stuff, you know, something like that.
Amen.
But I don't know. I mean, I like your take. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard really something like that going down. It makes a lot more sense that it, you know, it's obviously, you know, something almost happened, and they stopped it just in time. That makes a lot of sense.
And now, John, that said, do you have from any of your followers, has anybody made any statements to you that kind of gives you an impression that it was a certain kind of way? Or
I've had people reach out and say that there were power outages that day. Other than that, no one with direct contact to the situation has reached out. And that is kind of rare. Usually with these big things, I'll get one or two, you know, or multiple people reaching out. So to have no one, it's almost like a red flag. I have heard the portal thing. It does sound batshit crazy, but I have heard it a couple times. Actually, from one of the conspiracy guys, Parasite, I follow, who I actually consider quite a good researcher. He brought it up. You know, so I mean, man, portals opening, that would scare the shit out of people. That would bring 300 cops, and I mean, I just don't know. You just can't know. It's funny that there's no footage of aliens.
Right.
There's no footage of the fight either. There's just no footage at all. Another red flag, right?
Well, and that makes
the fact that.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say there was however many cops they were there, and they only arrested 4 people.
Yeah,
that itself doesn't make sense, right?
And not to mention the simple fact that there was, you know, who brings an entire fucking a force of cops to this magnitude to a situation of this nature and cause a complete blackout without it? Because you know damn well in our experiences with any government, there's usually all this frontline information stating that there was a shooter, there was concern, there was blah, blah, blah. This is the name of so-and-so. I've never heard of information being this blacked out. I mean, I've dug and dug to try to find any accounts of any of this stuff that occurred that day.
I know.
And it just seems like everybody's, you know, staring at the stars, looking at like being all of a sudden astronomers all of a sudden. Like, what the fuck is going on? So I think another piece now, wise of conspiracy or even theory, because we like to speculate on this channel, and going into this idea of portals, I'm starting to question on a basis of a lot of these Nostradamus predictions, and I'm wondering if there's the potential possibility that these people, now this is going to be a stretch, but they're time travel of some sort, you know, or because I think the individuals we had on, who is this? Okay, sorry, somebody's trying to call through. The potential that the 2 people we just had on that were friends of Nick's talking about that this is kind of like somewhat biblical. There's some extent to that, but also the idea that these are humanoid people that actually spoke a form of English during these Peruvian encounters, which put the hair up on the back of my neck initially when we were talking about these skin peelers, we'll call it.
Horrific.
But then it kind of ties into this idea if there's some sort of connection with the 1%, right? You know, you've talked about that on your channel quite a few times.
Certainly.
Of the upper echelon playing some games, and I don't know what the end game is. Like, what the hell is the whole purpose of all this? John, what do you think?
I think the purpose is to keep us questioning everything and wondering what's a distraction, what's not a distraction. Are we being distracted from the distractions? I just find it kind of funny now that everyone's so quick to jump on things and say, well, this is another distraction. There are certain things that I think are blatant distractions, like the jellyfish UFOs that they've just dumped on us all of a sudden. It's just like out of nowhere, everyone's talking about jellyfish UFOs.
Epstein's Black Book.
The Epstein stuff, sadly, has become a bit of a distraction, I think. only because, I mean, I went through hundreds of pages of those documents, if not thousands, and there was very little new substance. Anything new, I made sure to get out there, but there wasn't really anything new, especially if, like, maybe if you have not followed the Epstein stuff, but I've been going through his Lolita Express for 2 years. I've had access to the full flight logs for 2 years, and pretty much all the names on there are the names that are coming out now. So we knew all this shit for years, frankly. So that's why I would sadly have to admit that, like, the Epstein stuff's becoming a distraction. But I mean, so what is a distraction? Like, I think we're missing the point here. I think there's a lot of shit coming to a head in the world, and maybe all of it is very real and all of it deserves our attention, sadly. So when it comes to all that stuff, I mean, what's the end goal? Keep us divided, keep us fighting, keep the people, that want to have faith in the system, looking at anyone that questions things as a crazy conspiracy theorist, and on the other side, making those of us that see some of the things happening and have questions start to resent the sheeple that aren't asking the questions. But then you got to understand, they're just trying to get through their everyday lives, man. They're just trying to provide for their family and go to their 9-to-5 fucking job and go home and enjoy the cookie at the end of the night. I mean, I certainly don't blame them, and I don't blame people that are so disillusioned with the media and the government. They just don't believe anything anymore. And sadly, I can understand that too.
Well, isn't it? It's safe to say that with all these things going on, and that was a conversation of our previous podcast about all these events happening at once, right? We've got I mean, you're talking laundry list of things happening all at once. I mean, and it's crazy.
Like, man, they literally over the last year, they've come out. I think you pretty much got to say the government is trying to tell us, like, aliens are real, y'all, and no one gives a fuck. And it's because we're so polluted with just everyday problems that we're like, yeah, aliens are real. Great. When is the price of bread going down? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck about the aliens till I can afford my groceries again. And that's very fair, frankly.
Well, so I think the timing too, if you think about the logic, why not hit people when they're distressed and concerned over a huge changing event? I mean, this other thing, let's add this into the equation. And I know Nick asked me not to go off too much topic here, but I'm going to bring up one very specific thing. We're talking about this Apophis, this asteroid meteorite that they're going to quote unquote land on. I don't know if you heard anything about that, John.
No.
Okay, so Nick, you're more of a professional on this one. I'd like you to explain it better than I can.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's really interesting, and it's pretty in depth. I don't even know if I can do it justice. There's this asteroid, NASA, they saw it, last year, and they're like, oh shit, it's going to hit us in 2029, I think. And then they quickly went back and they're like, oh wait, no, it's not going to hit us. It's going to hit us in 2030 something. They're like, oh wait, no, 2060. And they're like, oh no.
Okay.
No. And they keep going back and back, but there's this asteroid, it's coming, and when it comes by, it's going to be closer than the moon, and it it lines up with some biblical stuff, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how much I believe it, but second coming of Christ and this whole. This is where I get lost. I can't explain it. I don't really know the biblical aspect of it, but it lines up really, really closely with some pretty crazy stuff.
I have heard about this. I have heard about this asteroid now that you mention it. The one where they're like, yeah, that's by the way, if it's coming between the moon and Earth, that is margin of error territory. So yeah,
right.
I just want to say.
Well, and not to mention the simple fact too that there's this whole. I don't know if it's been confirmed by NASA, but this mission to land on this son of a bitch and actually do some sort of excavation of precious metals. And the gentleman that was on the other day, this guy, Tyler, he said that they were talking about painting it. I don't know what that means, but
it has something to do with like it reflects the sunlight and it's supposed to move it out of its original orbit, supposed to heat it up so that it can move out of orbit and just miss us.
And this is also the same asteroid which is supposed to have been lost. We lost tracking on it for like 2 months 2 months or something, and then it just suddenly reappeared recently. So, and I know there's a specific glare of the sun that blocks out our telescopes and some of our information out there. So I think at the end of the day, I'm wondering if there's some sort of grand scheme for us to kind of stay divided so everybody stays comfortable. Because could you imagine if this information got out to the public, John, and said, what would people do with all this? So how do we divide it? Let's add aliens. Now, mind you, I imagine they're real. I fucking believe that are. Yeah. But then you add that you add conflict. What was today's news? You probably know better than I do with the Icelandic volcano. And there's a new, what is there, new fracture in the crust right now, like 800 years old. I mean,
the Earth's core stopped spinning like last year. Everyone forgets about that. And then it actually started spinning the other way. Look that shit up, man. I'm telling you, the Earth's crust is definitely moving, and there's definitely something happening beneath us. Hang on, maybe Pangea's coming back. Maybe it's gonna be all ocean. I mean, but frankly, I don't. Sometimes it's like when I take a step back and I just go, you know what? These poor fuckers. Like, yeah, there's people running shit, running mass media, influencing campaigns and this and that. But in the end, I think probably a lot of scared 1%ers right now. I mean, you see them building their bunkers.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, you see them building their bunkers, and it's like, okay, I don't think they know what's going to happen. I don't think they fucking know. And that's maybe scarier than the alternative. Because that really... But at least that kind of puts us all in the same boat, so to speak. We just don't have millions of dollars to build bunkers, but we do have the numbers to go take those bunkers if we ever wanted in Minecraft. Just saying, essentially, it's hypothetical. It's a video game reference, guys. But we could go take those bunkers in Minecraft pretty easily. Just saying.
Well, I think I feel like that's accurate, especially with a lot. And I happen to agree with you on this, that there's a lot of unknowns. And I mean, there's this simple fact that I feel like this whole goddamn thing that happened in Miami is like, it's reminiscent of the Philadelphia experiment, right? Like that whole thing. And it's and I just expressed, or I've shared this with Nick, that my wife's grandfather was actually one of the scientists on the Philadelphia experiment. And he said all of that shit was real. Like, he was very cryptic about it. He didn't get into much detail about it, which I imagine he could not.
No.
But in that same breath, there is some idea that there's some unknowns going on in this world right now. And then the question lies in is, what the hell can we believe? Yeah. And is it enough to throw people and society off its fucking rocking chair, where there's mass anarchy? Because unfortunately, John, you've talked about it on your channel more often than I can count, about people not being able to handle the truth.
Yeah, sure. It's a scary thing. Like I said, I never blame the people. I try and blame the system, but the truth is heavy, dog. The truth makes it hard to justify listening to your shithead manager at work. The truth makes it hard to justify sitting in a cubicle all day. And these are things that people got to do to survive. And I don't want to downplay their experience and their life, frankly, what they need to do. So, frankly, anyone that's got the time and the mind, and there's more and more every day, I got to say, as discouraging as things can get, I tell you, the amount of people messaging me on a daily basis saying thank you, and I show this to my friends, and lots of people are waking up to inherent truths that it doesn't always have to go to some extreme conspiracy place. It's just, listen, pharmaceutical companies have lied to the public in the past to make profits. This is not new. Governments will lie when it suits them. Governments will be communist when it suits them, and they'll be capitalist when it suits them. It's all just a big circle jerk, my friends. And like, if I may take it a step further, behind closed doors, I promise you, Trump and the Clintons are laughing. They're laughing there together. I promise you. So, you know, it's a stage, it's a circus, you know, and we have the power to take it anytime we want. But like I said, that's going to involve people setting aside their lives, which is a lot to ask. It's a
Well,
lot
and
to
that's
ask.
the whole prospect of, you know, we've discussed this on here too, Nick, and you can quote me or not here about living in the fucking Matrix, right? Like this is
Sure.
essentially, we'll say, a pseudo version of the Matrix when it boils down to it. And I always go back to that comment from the first Matrix when Cypher was sitting down in that restaurant. He's eating the steak, and he says, "I know this steak isn't real. I know that it's not actually putting the steak in my mouth." Whatever his verbiage was.
Yeah.
But he did say, "Ignorance is bliss." Right?
Oh yeah.
So I think that's the premise of the show that Nick and I do, is trying to bring this stuff forward, because, you know, we're trying to get more answers on many things. I mean, Nick is a big believer, and I'll let Nick explain more about the Fae. Are you familiar with the Fae, John?
No, hit me with it. Hit me with it.
Go ahead, Nick.
I mean, we would know them as fairies, right? I don't like using that terminology because it makes you think of like Tinkerbell, shit like that, Disney Channel. But I mean, the Fae, people fear the Fae. You know, you don't want to mess around with the Fae, and you can like, it's a European term, but you can match up different creatures from all over the world, right? And they're all the same. I don't know. I think
it's like
Scottish.
It's a pretty Celtic thing, right? Isn't it? Ireland and Scotland talk a lot about this stuff. Yeah. So what are they up to? What are they trying to do to us, Nick? Are they casting spells on us? Is that the theory, or
I don't know, exactly? Man. I don't know, man. We talk about like interdimensional beings. People often, you know, think they're like, what if they're aliens or demons? You know, they bring it to aliens or religion. But what if it's all just the Fae? They've been here the whole time. They're older than the universe, and somehow the government. This is me speculating all the way to the end. You know, the government or people in the government, they're trying to make deals with these Fae. You know, these 1%ers. They want to live forever. They're like, cast a little spell on me, and I'll sacrifice, you know, half a state to you or something. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, man. But you know, you look back in the history books, they talk, you know, all these mythological gods from all over the world. They're all very similar. They're all bloodthirsty. You know,
I mean, maybe they're just a 15-year-old kid named Timmy that's you know, programmed our little simulated reality that we all live in. Like, frankly, people come to me and they say, Johnny, is the earth round or flat? And I say, I don't think it matters, because frankly, it's probably all zeros and ones, my guy. So frankly, if we want to go into that realm, I mean, I think it's probably little Jimmy made us on his lunch break, and we're just a fucking version of the Sims. You want to know what I used to do with the Sims characters I would make? I'd put them in a room and take all the doors out, watch them starve to death. Or like I'd put them in the pool, or I'd put them in the pool and take the exit of the pool out, right? Or, you know, anyways, this is what creators do. This is what creators do with their little things that they make. And it sounds like a ridiculous comparison to make, but is it really?
No,
I don't know.
I mean, if you think about behind the whole concept of the creator, and like if we were to take a look, and they've done so much information now, I don't know how much truth there is to it, John, about this whole the Webster telescope, right, and all the stuff they're able to see now. I mean, you look through that thing, and you know, it's like granules of sand, right? Yeah, and it's like granules on a sand on a beach, and it's like, if you think about the logic,
you see them one part,
right? We're this big, and is there to say that maybe we're living inside this entity? We're just part of one of those neurons in this thing's brain.
The singular mind theory,
right?
My friend.
Yeah, the universal. Yeah. Yes, you know exactly what we're talking about there.
Oh yeah, yes I do.
So, and with that said, I mean, I don't know. I think, interestingly enough, I do a lot of historical dives, as Nick does too, about like where all this stuff kind of stems from. And I mean, we're talking, which is right up your alley too, is the government conspiracies all the time, and the changes. Like, how much shit do they know? And you, I've heard you go on rants about the Christian faith and the control. And Nick and I have a very similar, and I wouldn't say Christian, it's more Catholic, if anything, the Vatican,
Sure.
right? And a lot of
Sure.
the control that's been behind that.
They're the OGs. Yeah.
Yeah. And now they take all of the religions and they assimilated all the pieces they wanted. And they took and they said, oh, this is original. This is the shit that's been here forever and a day.
Yeah.
And I think that the part that interests me more so is like the dawn of time. Now, I don't know if you got a chance to, and I keep on promoting this gentleman quite a bit on our channel here. His name is Graham Hancock. Have you had a chance to watch any of his stuff on Netflix?
I'm not sure.
So it's all about the idea of the theory of how people came to live in this world. The idea behind, are we the first, I don't know, first rendition of human beings, right?
Right.
And his belief system is that, and evidence-based, that the Earth's been reset many times.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's this asteroid system that the Earth kind of flies through. It's called the Younger Dryas asteroid belt. And he says that during that time, the reason we see snakes and some of the old hieroglyphs is because that's what they described as the enemy in the sky. If you look at a comet, right, it looks kind of like a snake if it's coming down to hit the Earth. So his belief system is that human beings have been getting smoked by meteors forever and a day.
So the Younger Dryas, isn't that when the big flood happened? The last big flood, they talk about the Younger Dryas.
So they say that it's happened multiple times. And God, we talked to some very biblical people the other day about the potential. Now there's another gentleman called Carlson. I can't think of his first name, but he has this huge Randall Carlson. Thank you. This whole idea behind how the Earth was hammered by these meteors, and the Great Flood was due to one of these meteorites hitting the Earth. And biblical or not, it fucks some things up. Right?
I mean, there's a flood myth in every religion, and it all happened around the same time, that Younger Dryas era. I think we've reset ourselves a few times. I think we're probably like the 5th version of this shit. We've had this stuff built up. I mean, the Y Files is a great channel that I'll throw out there for you guys to check out. Guy does great research, and he talks about this shit all the time. And he's got me convinced that not only, yes, we've been here, done that before, we've been wiped out numerous times. The Younger Dryas being the last big one, which is what, 11,000 years ago, give or take, I think.
That's accurate. Yeah.
So check out this one. He's convinced me as well that the pyramids, because there's all these questions about the pyramids. What were they? Were they tombs? They've never found any bodies in them. There's never actually been any dead sarcophaguses pulled out of a pyramid. What are they for? Power plants, my friends. They were fucking power plants. The quartz, everything was specifically supposed to be there to create free electricity, like our boy Tesla, tried to bring to market back in the 20s. They had him killed for it. Whatever. I mean, we're getting deep into some other stuff now, Chad. And I apologize, but this is what it is. But the pyramids are power plants is probably my new favorite conspiracy, I guess you call it. But take a look, take a little dive into that one, my friends, and you will find yourself going, "Oh shit, this makes sense," because it never made sense. How did they get the fucking stones? But if you start looking into, like, not only did they take these giant, stones that weighed a ton without machinery, it's because they didn't build them. The Egyptians didn't fucking build them. These things been around. There's flood markings. There's flood markings on these things. Yeah. They dragged these things across hundreds of miles because it was specific stone that can conduct electricity when you look into it. The Y Files will say it better than me. Check out the Y Files, the pyramids episode. Sorry, I just went off on a rant.
And then we go back to the intricate cutting of the stones on the pyramid.
Oh, perfectly symmetrical.
And we can't even do that. I don't think we can simulate that to this day.
Maybe a laser with like a perfect AI tech could do it. But how are these motherfuckers doing it with chisels and
well,
like
and the other part of this too, which is, and I've read a whole lot about the power plant concept, and I'm going to take you a little step further, okay, John?
I love it.
We're going to go a little deep here. We're going to hit a little Atlantis in all this, okay?
Let's get into
a little
it.
Atlantis. So we were talking, and Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. There was the Tyler had mentioned the polarities of the Earth had been a lot different eons ago, okay?
Yeah.
And when we're talking about we hear that terminology magic thrown around a lot, right?
Sure.
And magic's just another name for something that we don't understand. We just kind of define it. Okay, I don't understand this shit. It's magic. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there's this. Go ahead.
Take your phone back 100 years, and people will think you're a fucking wizard, dog. You know what
right?
I mean?
So this concept that's been brought up, and I've actually followed it more so on Joe Rogan about the idea that Atlantis wasn't just one place. There were several of them. There was a lot of them where they were.
Yeah, there's the second one close by. It starts with a T, right? I can't remember what it's called.
Well, and that's
Tatiana.
the thing. There was like this mass network, and the technology and the ability that they were using this stuff that's above our understanding, I would assume, that actually caused using kind of like, I wouldn't call it telepathy, but using electromagnetic fields to move things. And that also goes back to this kind of previous conversation from this Miami incident. Is this technology something that's starting to re-manifest now? Is there somebody trying to come through from that past time to now?
Maybe there's a time traveler trying to be like, y'all need to stop ASAP because we're headed. I mean, it would make sense. This seems like a time when, they'd be sending Johnny Connor back to try and fix some shit. Certainly, it makes sense. Like, I don't know, just look at the world.
Did you ever see that dude that worked for NASA? He's got a bunch of videos on YouTube that are black and white, and I can't think of his name, but he had this prophetic belief that Jesus was actually an alien. Okay, follow me for a second.
No, I'm with you.
And he actually was sent. He was sent back to warn us about X, Y, and Z, to not be like that. And there's a second coming, but it's not the second coming we think it's. So dude, I don't know, man. This rabbit hole.
Listen, angels equal aliens is actually makes a whole lot of fucking sense if you think about it. And I mean, what is an alien? Is that just us living under the sea? You know what I mean? Who knows? I mean, frankly, if we really dig into it, it's more likely they're coming from out of the ocean than in the sky. I mean, we don't even know what's in the ocean, dog. We got no clue. 70% of it or something is just not even unexplored. We just don't even know. There's not even a clue. So, I mean, and then, here's the funny thing. When you talk about cosmic horrors and solar flares and, a sun explosion, the only place on Earth that you'd be safe from that shit, it's underwater. So that is where, an almighty, all-seeing race that's been around for a long time. It's just us with gills. We're just down there chilling, man. The Atlanteans, frankly, probably. So I mean, I kind of lost track of what I was even talking about there. But dude, angels equals aliens. I got to say, it's probably the most likely situation.
Or the Fae. I'm just gonna say that.
Or the Fae. Hey. And that's, I mean, and then again, it's just fucking another version of us, sadly. I mean, that's going to be the saddest thing when we learn we're hoping it's angels, we're hoping it's aliens. And it's just us. It's just us from another dimension or us from another time. I don't know. We might be all alone. I don't know.
I mean, I would have to say I'd be pleasantly comforted by knowing that at least it's not some fucking some interplanetary, some superpower, right? So we got enough of that going on already here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was something that was a human from the past coming back to kind of say, hey, listen, idiots, figure this shit out before you blow us to shit. And if you don't, you're gonna end up looking like me, which is mostly robotic or AI. That's another scary conversation. AI, I'm a little concerned about that, but I also embrace it in the same breath. How do you feel about
smart.
That? What do you think about John?
I think that they're coming for our jobs and they're censoring us at a rate that is unprecedented. God bless the almighty algorithm. Having said that, she who giveth and she who taketh away. When it comes to views on TikTok, I mean, that's my maker right now. So I think AI is still incredibly stupid and inept, but it won't take long. It's in fact, the U.S. government is trying to give drones the autonomy to decide to kill on their own. We've had you got the South Korean, the poor South Korean factory worker that was folded into a box by one of the AI machines there a couple months ago. Yeah, poor bastard got folded to death.
Holy shit.
I know, it sounds awful. You got the Tesla.
Fucking horrible. Yeah.
The Tesla was the Tesla robot attacked an engineer there a month ago. There's whispers. I mean, shit, man. There was even like I think it was Turkey. It was either Turkey or Saudi Arabia. Kind of did like an accidental drone strike on a fucking school, killed like 80 children. And you gotta wonder, you know, was that an AI little misfire? Was it a general fat finger? Who knows? But it's scary, scary times. It's not like we've been warned by every fucking sci-fi movie ever made, and we're just plowing right ahead with everything they warned us about. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go ahead and do that. So I think the writing's on the wall. We know damn well.
And that's the fucked up part. It's like the worst part about it too, and we discussed this a couple of times, is this whole put it right in front of your face, right? You know, and don't it's like, how do you hide something? Well, you put it right in front of them, right? Like, sure. I mean, how many movies out recently, not to mention T1 and T2 and T3 and all of them, how they got that kind of prediction model, but this one, Don't Look Up, go figure, right? Yeah. I don't know if I got a chance to see that one.
Yeah, I love that movie, actually. It's a great movie.
It's fantastic. One of the best setups I've seen. And then the other one that just recently came out about what it would
Leave the World Behind. Leave the World Behind. Yeah. Don't worry, they got another one coming out there in a month or so. It's called Civil War. It looks pretty good.
I saw that.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good way to think about it. Is kind of, as we've kind of talked about more often than not, it's kind of the only real answer is buckle up right now.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna get Chris Buckley. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's gonna come on. We're gonna talk about that movie. He was pretty in-depth. He was like a ex-KKK member that I heard about on NPR of all places, and I got a hold of him, and I've had him on the show a couple times.
That's interesting. Okay, so he was part of the Klan, and he came on out the other side. Good for him.
Yeah, now he like works on getting people out. You know,
that's really interesting, actually. Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Good for him.
Yeah, I think people, you know, you find those defining moments in life that just kind of turn you around. And, you know, I can say I'm one of those people too. I wasn't this fucking cherub-like demeanor my entire life, and now I'm a therapist that works with vets. So that's
good for you. That's fucking amazing work, my friend. Yeah, I see the I Love Recovery shirt. And I hope I'm not triggering you having a beer at the bar here. It's I feel bad.
Listen, each their own. I still drink from time to time, so it's all
good for you.
Good.
Good for you.
No judgment on my part, man. No judgment on my part.
No, man, that's some amazing stuff. Actually, we're rolling deep on veterans. In fact, I think I'm going to do DMT with Robert O'Neill in New York in the next month. So really looking forward to that. Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that just happened. So we're going to set that up. Bobby came on my podcast a few months ago, so we're going to go down. I'll go on his, and we'll do the DMT together. He's got a guide that's going to walk us through it. But yeah, there's a guy who's obviously come out the other side. It's been a few years since his service, and guess what? He's got questions these days, I think, which is a really interesting evolution to watch, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. Yeah, but veterans, man, my grandfather was a member of the Devil's Brigade. Much tougher and braver man than me, as are all vets. So shout out. Good work you're doing there, Chad.
Appreciate that, man. Nick, what were you going to say, man?
Not that I was gonna be like, oh, that shit's actually not that hard to make, but never mind. We don't have to get into that.
No, I know that. I know, and you know what? I know it's funny. It's all of a sudden like, I mean, Jesus Christ! I think people used to talk about it like a crazy drug. Now the hippy dippy vegans are like, yo, you got to do DMT. Everyone's telling me I got to do fucking DMT. So I'm a little nervous. So I'm gonna do it proper with Robert and a guide. Have the
and I
setting right.
recommend that you put it in the right setting. I mean, I think the real reason that it became a mainstream conversation, I mean, we'll leave it to the grandfather of podcasting is Joe Rogan.
Well, Rogan's been talking about it for decades. I know.
He has in between that and ayahuasca, he's been really pushing the bill. And I know from my practice, Ibogaine, I've been believing in the whole concept and belief system that with shrooms, microdosing, LSD done in the right way. And even let's say ketamine too has been showing very substantial help for people's mindset. Now, let's take it a step further while we're talking about the weird shit today.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people have felt that they find this huge connection to a part of themselves when it comes to the supernatural or the things that are unknown, right? Like those things you're talking about. And all of a sudden, people that were very close-minded, people that have PTSD, people have trauma, all of a sudden start to see things differently. And that's an amazing fucking thing to see happen.
Yeah, invaluable, I would think. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm hoping that more people...
Schedule 1 drugs, right?
It's supposed to be, but the problem... So I heard a really... I don't know,
no
John...
medical use at all.
What's that?
I said no medical use at all. Of course.
Interesting. Well, yeah, because they don't want to cure things. You know that. They just want to treat things.
You ready for this fucking curveball? Now, we were talking about pharma, right?
Yeah.
So pharma is currently making a synthetic version of shrooms.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, of course they are.
Of course they are, right? So that goes back to the control. But either way, I think that the hope is that people, because I do believe and I'm hopeful that human beings will get what we call the Great Awakening. They'll open their goddamn eyes. They'll start looking around. They'll start to see what's actually going on around them. And talking to gentlemen like you, Nick, myself, really start opening up people's eyes that everything around you isn't what it seems.
There's more going on for sure. Yeah.
Now, does that mean we have to live in that fucking anxiety-ridden life? No. But there's nothing wrong with having the knowledge, right? What's wrong with knowing?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be nice to see what's going on in that other dimension.
Dude.
Maybe it wouldn't be. I mean, shit, maybe it wouldn't be so nice, but I still want to see it. I don't know.
Well, I think that if it's whatever we call it, the Fae, the interdimensional beings, supernatural, I think it's all tied together. We think it is some way, somehow. And I'd like to hope that somebody's going to come forward. Grush there, he's been trying to push the bill of bringing this information forward.
Yes.
I hope that he does get more out because he's been saying he's getting threats on his life by the military. And I'm wondering if it's going to, I wonder if more is going to come out, to be honest with you. I'm hoping it does.
Well, we'll wait with bated breath, my friends, but certainly don't
just as long as we don't pass out in the process, John.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to hold my breath too long. So with that said, I don't know, Nick, do you have anything else you wanted to add, man?
I said, let me get your take on this really quick. This could be really dumb.
No, hit me with it.
Right? All right. So I was digging around with the whole Miami thing. Do you remember exactly what day it happened on? Was it the 1st?
Yeah, it was literally New Year's Day.
Yeah. So I was digging around and I noticed, you always hear about how like these musical artists are tied to like the occult. They're doing all these rituals before their shows and stuff. And I was digging around and I saw that Cardi B and her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whoever he is, they were holding the biggest party in Miami, and it was literally right around the corner from the mall. I mean,
this is the first I've heard about
something.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got the name of the hotel. Let me see if I can find the name of the hotel. Really
Now,
cool.
John, you speak so highly of Cardi B. I figured this would be a great topic to bring up to you.
I mean, there's a woman that found a way to get her bag, and in today's society, I can't blame her. So go power to you. Nicki Minaj is the superior rapper, though. I want that stated for the record. I just want that. Yeah, I just want that
Point
clear.
that part out. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, red bottom shoes, dog. I mean, when it comes to the music industry, there is some shady shit. I mean, I had the pleasure of interviewing Imagine Dillon, who actually was accused Jason Derulo of some pretty strange requests, including goat beheadings and all this stuff. There's some weird shit going on in the music industry, almost no doubt. Having said that, maybe they're just, weirdo artists. I mean, have you ever hung out with artists? I'm an artist. I'm weird as shit. It is a thing. So, but having said that, yeah, the music industry is highly problematic. And I don't know if you guys heard Cat Williams' little interview that he did. He had a lot to say about that stuff too. So,
well,
I heard about it.
John, I'm going to do this one movement for you, and I think you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
The all-seeing eye, my friends, Illuminati, baby. Yeah, let's go.
You think that's all? You think that's intertwined in all this? You think that has something to do with
I don't know. Certainly, in some regards, when there's smoke, there's fire, and when you have so many people that have come out and said things like this, but just to play devil's apricot, maybe this is a jealousy and people being like, well, this is why I didn't make it. They did, because they joined with the Illuminati and did some stuff on their knees, and on their backsides and all this. And it's like, okay, I mean, is this jealousy or is this real? I don't know. But maybe we're getting a little closer to the truth these days. Maybe that's why shit's so crazy. Maybe that's why so much shit is going on.
Well, and you hear a lot about the whole like the Scientologist situation too, where some of these guys are going knee deep into that, and then all of a sudden I mean, we're talking about 10 years ago you had fucking Tom Cruise walking around with a giant medallion on his chest. I mean, who was handing out giant clocks? I didn't know Flavor Flav was in the fucking building.
Yeah, that's right.
Handing out clocks.
It's like, here's my religion. Come in and tell me all the worst things you've ever done. And then you're not allowed to leave. Because if you do, I'm going to blackmail the shit out of you. It sounds like a great business model. It sounds
very, very profitable. And Ron, whoever the space captain was, or whatever the hell they're called.
L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah. He's the sci-fi writer. Yeah. He's the guy that made religion. Maybe if the guy that wrote fiction is the creator of your religion, you should have a couple thoughts about that. I don't know. Hey.
He was a heavy magic user. He was deep into some serious magical shit too.
Is that right?
Well,
hey, wouldn't it be scary if L. Ron Hubbard turns out that he's right? What if Scientology's right? What if that's the one?
Well,
what if that's the one?
Somebody said that too. When we're talking about the unknown, right? You get to that benchmark in your life, and you're on the end of the world, or you're at your end, and you get to the other side, and then apparently you see a fucking frog standing in front of you, like, oh, I've been wrong the whole time. Apparently, the whole time.
Should have been praying to the frogs.
That's right.
Well, look, guys, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
I really appreciate you coming on, Nick. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I do too. Thanks a lot.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. I'm going to be heading down to Nebraska here in the next couple of weeks. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm not sure where you guys are located. But I'm as far as I can tell, I'm right in the middle of America. So I could literally go anywhere for a couple of months there. So I'll let y'all know where I end up.
We're in the VT area, and I don't know if you got my email.
I did.
Yeah, so we'll stay in contact. But John, please keep us in your thoughts, and we'll keep on pushing it out. And if you could throw a line or a tag in on one of your casts, that'd be really appreciated.
I'll let people know. You send me the link for this, and I'll get it posted out there to the people.
Really appreciate it, John. Thanks for coming.
All right, guys. Chad, Nick, you guys stay safe. Take care.
Bye, buddy.
Thank you. Bye.